We are here to talk about hard graft. No quick fixes to make your dick bigger. This is information that you need, as well as my younger self needed during my first few years in the gym. This is going to be a bullshit guide on every... This is going to be a no bullshit guide on everything I think you need to know if you're just starting the gym or just finding your feet. First 6 months to a year is where you can make the most progress. And I want to give you as much information as possible in this one video to allow you to have a better first year in the gym than I did, to make the most progress, to be able to achieve your dream body, to make your man boobs into pectorals. I've been training and teaching myself for 6, 7, 8 years now. I'm not 100% sure. Since I was the age of 16, trying different diets, different levels of intensity, workout plans, all to be able to gather my own information, my own self-teachings to put into a video for you to take from. You can watch this video over and over again to allow yourself to take as much information as possible. I'd rather put it all in one video where you can jump around to sections, and I will label the sections on what they're going to be called, and you can jump from and to each one, taking away as much information as possible. Drop a comment if you're unsure of anything and let me know what you thought. Let's begin. Before we start this section, go in the description and there are free workout plans on my website. If you click onto the link that's in the description, put your email address and your name in, you will get 6 free workout plans. And this is for you to do less thinking. You don't have to worry about these workout plans. They're different workout plans and you just choose what would work best for your routine and your lifestyle. This will give you structure in the gym, and by having structure in the gym, it allows us to utilize our muscles effectively to make the most possible muscle gain. And we can train our muscles 2 to 3 times per week, between 10 and 20 sets per muscle. After 20, it can affect our gains negatively with overtraining and not getting enough rest. So by having a workout plan, it gives us structure and it allows us to make the most gains possible. And for your first year, you need to utilize this properly, staying consistent and sticking to the workout plan to make the most gains possible. For my first year, I was doing a bro split, so I was only training my chest and my back like once a week, and that just wasn't enough. I wasn't seeing the gains quickly enough. I could have made a lot more progress a lot faster if I went to a push-pull legs or a full body split. If you're new or you're just starting and finding your feet in the gym, I would recommend a full body just so you can get the gist of everything. Different workouts, it'll give you a mixture of something every day, and plus it's only 3 days a week that the plan I give you on one of the free workouts. It's only a 3-day split, Monday, Wednesday and Friday, or whatever you want to do. It will allow you to do other things as well as get comfortable in the gym. After you have utilized my workout plans, whichever one you chose, say you've chose the full body, after you use this for a couple of months, few months, and you see really good results, but then your results start to slow down, then I would choose a more intense workout split, like a push-pull legs, where you can utilize every single muscle 2 or 3 times a week, as well as getting that rest in. And it gives us structure and a routine when we have a workout plan, and we as humans love this. It lets us think less, and by thinking less during the workout, we're not deciding what exercise to do next, it's just there on the sheet, we know exactly what to do. It allows us to have more mental energy to put in to concentrating on the diet and concentrating on how much intensity or how much rest we need, focusing on other areas of working out. This journey that you're starting right now, this is a lot of energy, a lot of mental strain and energy. The less you can think, the more routine you can set in place and adapt a habit of eating the same foods, doing the same workouts. It will allow you to stay more consistent and not get them ups and downs of like weeks. You need a couple of weeks off because you've completely burnt yourself out, and it gives you more mental energy things. And especially if you're cutting, you will have lower energy, you will have lower mental state of and lower mental energy to think and do things and stay disciplined. So by being able to have this structure and routine, it will allow you to stay consistent even when you are hit with hard times of like cravings or you don't want to go to the gym. If you are set in that, if you've got that routine down to a T and you stick to it, it will just make it a lot easier for you to stay consistent. Now when it comes to food and having a food plan, this is where most people go wrong. They give in to their cravings, they're not disciplined enough, or you do want a cheat day and you say cheat day, you do want to treat yourself, but then you go overboard. Well, this is where most people get wrong. They've got the workout plan done, they've got the consistency down, but they just can't stay consistent with eating. And what I have done and what I will tell you is find something you can eat every day. And some people can just go 3 meals every single day, same thing every single day. But me, I like a bit of variety, so I've got 9 meals that I switch between. So I've got like 3 meals for my breakfast, 3 meals for my lunch, and 3 meals for my dinner. So I can switch between them whenever I'm not fancying. Because there are times where I don't fancy chicken. I really hate that slimy, sometimes it's a bit chewy in your mouth, like the chicken's not very good chicken, the quality of the chicken's not very nice, and I just don't fancy it and it makes me heave. So them sort of weeks I will be eating like more eggs or more fish until I'm back to fancying chicken again. When it comes to eating, this is the biggest downfall in the reasons of you're not fueling your body enough, or you are fueling your body with too much of something. You are over consuming in sugar, for example, and this is my biggest downfall, is I would always want sugary carbs, I would always want sugary foods. This makes it a lot harder to stay consistent. It makes your cravings really spike. By the sugar levels that you are consuming, it makes you want more sugar, making your craving for sugar more difficult to control, harder to stay disciplined. When I have a more sugary breakfast throughout the day, then I am craving more sugary treats and meals. I tend to reduce my sugar intake or completely not have any sugar at all, and try and stay away from the more sugary carbs like bread and wraps, pasta, that sort of stuff. I stick more to the whole natural foods where they only have one ingredient. So if you go and look at a packet of broccoli, if you go and look at a bag of potatoes, they won't even be in ingredients. They'll say ingredients and there won't be anything under there. Go and look at a bag of broccoli right now. It won't even say anything. It'll say ingredients and it'll just be blank, because the only ingredient in potatoes and broccoli is potato and broccoli. There is no other artificial sugars, sweeteners and things like that to make it taste nicer. So you are just getting that whole foods. You want to stick to the more whole foods. This way your cravings will be completely down and it'll be easier to stick to your cut, easier to not binge on food. If you're bulking, you will put less weight on and you'll be able to get more volume in, especially when you're cutting. And this, by prioritizing these more whole foods, you'll be able to get more volume in, making it easier to lose the weight, making it easier to cut, making you feel more full throughout the day, even though you are having like a 600 calorie meal. Like that still fills you, because you've got a bowl full of veg and chicken and all that sort of stuff. And there is a little tip that I have recently adapted, and I got it from a podcast that I listened to, Diary of a CEO, and she talks about glucose. And glucose is basically sugar, your sugar levels, your blood sugar levels, and your glucose goes up when you consume sugar. But if you eat your meals in a certain way, it actually reduces your sugar levels and glucose levels drastically. And if you consume your potatoes or your carbs, basically, because this is carbs have basically got the sugar in. Most carbs have got sugar in, and that's what spikes your glucose levels the most. So if you're eating that first, then your glucose levels, you will crave just that little bit more that will make you feel less satiated after a meal. So I tend to eat my veg, protein, and then carbs last, and I feel like the amount of volume I've got, the order I've ate it in, keeps it so I am not hungry after my meals. It makes my cutting experience a lot nicer and a lot less that I have to discipline myself to stop my cravings or stop wanting to snack. And by consuming less sugar and by keeping your glucose levels more at a stable rate, and this will just happen in the process of not consuming as much sugar, you will have that like same level of energy throughout the day, and mentally, like, you know, sometimes after a meal your glucose levels go up, you feel like you've got this burst of energy, and you stay up there for a while just because your glucose levels, your sugars levels have gone up, and after a meal you feel energized, and you can consistently stay there if you're not eating too much sugar. So when you have a massive consumption of sugar, like sugary sweets and just foods that are filled with sugar, your glucose levels go straight up, like peak sugar levels, and then they drop drastically and come below, like say like this is the baseline of your sugar levels, it comes straight up and then drops below it, so you're down here, and this is where your cravings really start to hit, and this is where they get really bad, and then you need more sugar to bring your energy levels back up, and this is called like a sugar crash, where you're below baseline and you need more sugar to get your levels back up. And this is why sugar is so addictive and cravey and all that sort of stuff. So you can see why people get really addicted to sweets and sugary treats and all that. It spikes it so much, drops so much, and it's just like a roller coaster. So by eating more whole foods, you will have more of a stable, and you won't drop below baseline, and you won't have these massive spikes, making your cravings a lot less, making it a lot easier for your cuts and bulks, and being able to stay away from them sweets or sugary snacks that take up most of your calories. And when it comes to food, you really need to track and watch everything you are putting through your mouth. If you say you are not losing weight and you're saying, oh, I'm only eating 2,000 calories, well, you're not eating 2,000 calories because you're probably consuming it in some drink that you're consuming. I used to do a lot of the time, I put honey and milk into my coffee, and I wasn't tracking that, and I was eating like 2,400 calories, and I was staying like the same weight for like a couple of weeks, and until I started drinking the black coffee, just having coffee on its own that's got 0 calories in it. That's when my weight started dropping. Everything that you put through your mouth, you have to track your sauce. If you're going to put sauce on your food, you have to track every single thing, and this will be more you'll have to be more wary of this, obviously, if you are cutting and wanting to lose weight, which I presume most of you watching this video will want to do, and because that's why I started this journey in the first place. Rest is the most important thing when it comes to building muscle, building the physique that you want. We need to prioritize rest. And for a long time I didn't do this. I was going to the gym 6-7 days a week. I felt really tired constantly, but I kept going, thinking that if I stay with that consistency, I will eventually get to the point that I needed to be at. But I actually had reversing effects, because I actually burnt myself out, and I would have to take a week or 2 off, losing my gains and losing the progress, because I would end up binge eating and my cravings would go up. I wouldn't feel productive. It would make me feel upset, sad, emotional, whatever, and I would just want to binge. And does this sound the same to you? And it probably does. You have them effects because you just completely burn yourself out, and you're tired and you just can't keep going. It's because you're not getting enough rest, you're not getting enough sleep. When we rest, this is where our muscle actually is repairing, growing, becoming bigger. When we go to the gym, it tears, and think of like a scab on your arm. If you keep picking it, it takes longer to heal. So if you leave that scab on your skin, it goes away quicker and it becomes less, it heals a lot quicker and becomes less visible. But if you pick it, it's still got more of a chance of opening up again. It's exactly the same with the muscles. They're not repairing properly because you're not giving it enough rest. When we lift weights, especially on like especially when we do the eccentric, the lowering phase, this is the main part of when our muscles actually tear and rip, is the lowering phase, causing them micro tears in your muscle. And we need to have optimal rest to be able to repair that muscle, to be able to get the physique that you want, to have the energy to keep going week after week. And so if you are in a position where you've been to the gym and you just get this completely burnt out and you can't go any longer, and you just have them reversing effects, and then you're in that same cycle over and over again, you're working hard and you're not seeing the results that you want to see, it's because you're not prioritizing your rest. You are constantly going, you are not taking the weekends off. And it's very hard to take the weekends off. I do struggle to have them rest days. I just want to go, and I want to get to that point as soon as possible. But we have to rest to be able to recover and be able to go the week after. Rest is the most important thing we can do. The more sleep we get, the more rest we get, the better and stronger we're going to feel and more energized we're going to feel to carry on going, to build the muscle, to build the physique that we want. When it comes to intensity, I'm going to say this now. I am a bodybuilder, not a weightlifter. There's a difference between bodybuilding and weightlifting. Bodybuilding is focused on the contractions, the concentric and eccentric, the lifting phase and the lowering phase. Weightlifters are primarily focused on just getting that weight up, lifting that weight. No matter what the form looks like, all they care about is getting that weight up, getting their strength up. Push that weight up as fast as possible, get it up as quick as possible to build strength. We are focused on building an aesthetic body, a nice looking body. Strength does come with building a nice body, but we're not primarily focused on building strength and going heavier. We are focusing on the contractions in our muscles to build a nice looking body, an aesthetically pleasing looking body. And like I said, we are focused on the contractions. So how we can do this, and how I recently started doing this, is pre-exhausting my muscles, doing an exercise before my actual workout to get the muscle that I'm working that day pumped and feeling the contraction more in my muscles. So if I am doing a push day where it's chest focused, I will be doing flies, because flies are the exercise best that activate the chest the most. For a pull day or a back day focused on the lats, I will be doing a straight arm pull down, a lat arm pull down. This is where you get the most activation in your lats. So I will do this for 2 or 3 sets, low weight, nothing serious, 15 to 20 reps, not going to complete failure, but just feeling that contraction in my muscles. When we go into the actual workout, doing our bench, doing our lat pull downs, we won't be able to go as heavy, but we'll feel it more into that muscle. We can control that weight a lot more, making the contractions, the concentric and eccentric lowering phase a lot stronger and a lot smoother. And like I said, bodybuilding, this is what we're primarily focused on. To make it more intense, to get them contractions, to get that muscle aching, that sense of aching. It doesn't always mean you're worked hard. You don't have to ache at all to even say you've had a hard workout, but people do like to feel that ache. And by actively thinking about the muscle you are contracting, not thinking about anything else, closing your eye, I close my eyes most of the time, is like focusing primarily on contracting just this muscle, pushing just this muscle. This is called the mind-muscle connection, focusing directly on this muscle, giving us better contractions, effectively making us contract harder, controlling the weight a lot more, and building more muscle. We talk about eccentric and concentric. The eccentric is the lowering phase, and the concentric is the lifting phase. The lifting phase is more for building that strength up, effectively building more strength. And the lowering phase is where most of the muscle tears happen, building the muscle mass, the actual muscle itself, what gives us this aesthetically pleasing look. So by being able to control both of them, by choosing a nice weight where it's giving us just that nice level of intensity, but where we can control it on the lowering phase and not just letting it flop, and where we can get a good contraction on the lifting phase, we can build the most muscle this way by building strength and the muscle mass at the same time. For most of my training years, I wasn't training that intensity. If my workout plan said do 8 to 10 reps, I would do 8 to 10 reps. If I had more in the tank, I wouldn't do it. I just did that. My workout plan said 8 to 10 reps. I wouldn't go any further because that's what my workout plan said. You're not training to complete failure. By training to complete failure, you won't have to do 3 sets, 4 sets, 5 sets, because your muscle is completely wiped out. You'll need 1 set, sometimes 2 sets, 3 sets at most. By training to complete failure, it allows us to building that strength, building that muscle mass a lot faster. If you've been training for a while and you're not really seeing many results anymore, it's because you're not training hard enough. You're not training to complete failure. When you're doing a bench press, let the weight drop on your chest. If it's not dropping on your chest, you are not training to complete failure. If you're doing half a rep and you just can't get it past that halfway point, then that's where you need to be every single session, every single set, every single muscle group. This is how you need to be training to be building muscle as fast and efficiently as possible. Otherwise you will get stagnated and slow down a lot and be wondering why you are not making any muscle gains or muscle mass or strength. When it comes to having a partner or training on your own, I would recommend training on your own or with a partner, 1 partner at most. Do not train with 2 or 3 partners because this will affect your rest time. You'll be getting too much rest time, affecting your intensity. We can up the intensity by having less rest. By training with more than 1 person, it will just make the intensity levels a lot lower, affecting your gains in the long run. When it comes to deciding whether to cut or bulk or maintain, it depends on how your composition is. If you are lean with some good muscle, then I would recommend maintaining or bulking. If you are fat or skinny fat, I would recommend a body recomposition or maintaining. Maintaining so you can build muscle, so you can build that physique underneath all that fat. Doesn't matter if you're fat. I wouldn't worry about that for now. You'll be able to cut it down later. What we want you to do is be able to build that physique underneath that fat. Build the muscle underneath that fat. So eventually, when you come to cutting, you can cut down and you will have that aesthetically lean, pleasing body. That body that girls want, that a girl's attracted to. A body recomp is say 200 calories below your maintenance. This allows you to build muscle simultaneously to cutting weight down slowly. This is like a 1 or 2 pound drop per month. It's a long process. It will be long, but you will effectively be building muscle as well as cutting fat. And this is known as a body recomposition. The reason I do not recommend you cutting is because you don't have a foundation there to cut down to. You will just look, if you are fat, you will just look skinny fat. If you are skinny fat, you will just look a skinnier version of yourself. There will be nothing to cut down to, no muscle there to see. There will be no point in you getting leaner. You can use that muscle, that fat that you've got on you, turn that energy to be able to fuel your workouts to be able to push yourself in the gym and transform that fat into muscle. And I'm not saying like muscle, you can turn that fat into muscle. It's like you burn that fat but build muscle at the same time. That's effectively what I'm saying. If you're lean, got a little bit of muscle mass, then I would maintain or bulk. If you are fat, skinny fat, I would body recomp or maintain. If this was my first year starting all over again, this is what I would do to get to the point I am at now as quick as possible. I have done a few cycles of cutting and bulking, and I'm stepping away from that now because I would rather not hit them really high calories and then them really low calories of when I'm cutting, because I think it affects my mental energy deeply. So I'll only be doing like mini cuts and mini bulks and stuff like that, like in a slight surplus or a slight deficit. I won't be doing anything serious just because of how I feel during it. I want to stay more level-headed and keep that consistent energy up all the time. But I'm not saying don't do it for yourself, because I have seen good results. The first time I ever did a bulk, I put on a lot of muscle mass really quickly, and I was seeing my strength go up, my muscle mass go up week after week, and I was seeing very good results. So I would say just test it out for yourself and see how it goes for you. If you fall into the category of like you can't put any weight on, or you can't put any or you're a hard gainer, you find it hard to put muscle mass on, then I would recommend just bulking. If you fall into these categories, then I would recommend bulking and not dirty bulking. Some of you might fall into that dirty bulking just because when it comes to bulking, you have to eat a lot of food to be. I was eating 4,000 calories at one point, and I was cooking 4 or 5 times a day, consistently eating, but I had the time to do that. If you don't have the time to do that, then I don't know, dirty bulking might be a way to be able to get them calories in, not having the time to cook them meals for yourself. But I would steer, or I would recommend mainly a clean bulk, just because of like your sugar levels and your spikes and all that sort of stuff. And I just purely think that it's just better for you overall, especially mentally, with like the ups and downs in sugar levels and stuff like that. This is a big thing when it comes to building muscle, because we want to lose weight and we want to lose it fast a lot of the time. Say we've got like 3 months to lose all this weight, and sometimes we have them hard weeks where we stay the same for a couple of weeks. But by doing too much cardio, it can affect us in our workout plans, building that muscle. We won't have the energy to push hard. We won't have the energy to go to complete failure, or do the contractions, do them extra few sets, or pre-exhaust our muscles. We won't have the energy to do that. So what I've done for a long time is just walking, getting steps in, getting my NEAT up. For a fair few 2 or 3 years, I was jogging constantly, feeling knackered. Like I said, I was burning myself out. But once I started implementing walking and doing more activities during the day, of like just doing little things, little jobs around the house, or going for walks more, it allowed me to stay more consistent with it, because I had a lot more energy. Walking's not hard at all. Everyone can walk, and it doesn't take a lot of energy to walk, which allows us to stay more consistent. And consistency is what is going to give you the results that you want. Basically, don't sleep on walking if you are trying to lose weight and trying to cut down. Walking and doing little tasks here and there throughout your house, and just do them little tasks, and go for a walk half an hour, or walk around your house for 10 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever it is, to get your steps up. It's a lot easier to do than go for a run every single day or every couple of days. And like I just mentioned, during that walking and running, how you noticed how I said consistent. walking, I can stay a lot more consistent. Consistency is what is going to get you the results, the body that you want. They're going to get you to that summer body, that beach body look, their aesthetically pleasing body. Because there are going to be times where you don't feel like going, you don't want to go for a walk, you don't want to go for a run, you don't want to push hard. There will be times, but by being able to push yourself and stay consistent and making it easy as possible, by making yourself think less, by building a routine, building a habit, it will allow you to stay more consistent, bringing you them results, staying consistent for longer, not having them burnouts, pushing through these hard times, showing up when you don't want to, showing up when you don't feel like it, doing what needs to be done when you don't feel like it. It teaches you a massive lesson, and it's called discipline. Consistency brings discipline, and discipline brings consistency. You won't always have me or other videos telling you to go to the gym, to tell you to do the hard work, but by taking away what I've said in this, making it easy as possible, building them habits of having them 3 meals that you like, having that workout plan that you can stay consistent to. By staying consistent and building these habits and disciplining yourself, you are effectively parenting yourself. And some of us don't have parents to even parent us, to tell us to do things. We don't have these videos to tell us to go and do it. I won't always be there to call you and tell you to go. It allows us to parent ourselves, allows us to discipline ourselves. We are, at the end of the day, grown kids. We are still children, but just more grown up and more serious, and it allows us to parent that inner child inside of us to tell us to keep going. And this is what we need in our adult lives. There is no doubt in my mind, if you stay consistent, if you stay disciplined and turn these tips that I've told you in this video, implement it into your everyday life, everyday routine, gym routine, there is no doubt in my mind that you will get the body that you want with consistency. You will be the best version of yourself physically, but most importantly, mentally. Do what needs to be done, not what you feel like doing.